Hello, my spectacles to desire is but the ghoul next door. Your favorite ghoul fiend.
Hello, my spectacles. Desire is blood. The ghoul next door. Your favorite ghoul fiend. And it is so hot here. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now. Hence the outfit. Okay, so this is episode 14 of my 2026 Halloween series. Today's bingo task is watch a new release horror film, and I picked the movie Keeper. It's a Canadian movie I did not even know existed until like 2 days ago. So we open up with a couple of random scenes of these women covered in blood screaming, and then we see kind of the 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, and these women kind of we see them kind of smiling and happy, and then we cut to a couple going to the man's cabin. They've been together for a few months, and they're going to his cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere. The female lead character is a little cautious, maybe. She gets off the phone with her friend, and her friend's telling her to, like, either he's taking you there to ask you to marry him, or he's taking you there to break up with him. One of the two. So our lead female character, she's a little suspicious. She doesn't know if she can really trust him. They're having dinner, and all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and it's I believe he calls him his cousin. And the cousin is very rude. He comes in, kind of gets introduced to her, and he brings his date with him, who is like a supermodel. And the two men go off to talk in the other room for a minute, and the model, who is clearly drugged out of her mind, she leans over and she says, "It tastes like crap." And she refers to a cake that the caretaker has left for them. So then the cousin and the model leave, and our main guy there, he comes back, and he's really pushing this cake on her. He's like, "Oh, you have to have this cake. You have to have a piece of it," and all this. And our lead female goes, I don't like chocolate. And he's like, "All women like chocolate." And she's like, No, I don't like chocolate." But he basically force feeds her a piece of cake. And then it's a couple of hours later, they're lying in bed, and she's having dreams of drowning. And she gets up in the middle of the night like a zombie and goes right for the cake and just eats the entire cake. Next morning, he wakes up to see that she's eaten the entire cake, and he says he's got to go. He's a doctor, and he has to go to work. One of his patients is dying, so he's going to leave her there all alone. So she's kind of half drugged out, and she's on the phone with her friend. She's trying to convince her friend to come get her, but there's some interference on the line. And then the cousin comes knocking on the door, thinking that she's not there. He's shocked to see she's there, and you could almost say he's shocked to see she's alive. Then he kind of disappears. Something happens to him while she's hiding in the bathroom from him. She has a few more nightmares, dreams, whatever you want to call them, or hallucinations is probably a better word, of something in the house, some sort of ghostly figure. Then our lead male character, he shows up, and he's startled to find her still alive. I guess he figured his cousin, quote-unquote cousin, who we find out later is really his brother, he thought the cousin was going to kill her. Because that's what they do. And he goes into this whole spiel about a little bit of the cake was supposed to knock her out so that the entities in the house could have her to eat. And he was surprised that she ate the whole cake because I guess that counteracts it or something. I have no idea. And so he confesses the whole plot, which is him and his cousin brother there are 300 years old, and they had stumbled, as kids, they had stumbled upon this woman trespassing on their property, so they shot her and took her to the barn to leave her with the pigs, for the pigs to basically eat her. But before that could happen, something overtook the woman and she gave birth to these monstrosities. Then they killed her. But the monstrosities, they made a deal with them, like a Faustian deal, that if they could have eternal life, every so often they would bring people for these monstrosities to eat. And it just happens that our lead female is a doppelganger or reincarnation of the woman. So the monstrosities, instead of killing her and eating her, they're treating her like their mother. And the our lead male, he then ages. He ages like he goes from being a man in his 40s to a man in his 90s. And she's possessed now by the spirit of the dead mother. And she's agreed to look after the monstrosities, and then they kill him. End of movie. I hated it. I did not like this movie. I thought it was crap. Which is weird to say because you've got the lead female actor. I don't know her name, but she was the one from Orphan Black. She's an amazing actress. And the lead male character is a Sutherland. He's like the middle Sutherland or something. So he's a really great actor, and he's been on a few TV shows and everything. But the writing, whoever wrote the screenplay for this, no. This story was just, it starts off, you think you're getting into a serial killer story, and then you think, oh, maybe it's a vampire story, and then it just becomes this weird supernatural Faustian deal. I think I would have liked it better if they had brought the Faustian deal part up a little sooner in the story, or made more references to her background a little more. Like, is she just a doppelganger, or is she a reincarnation? I would have liked a little more connection there. We don't really, well, we kind of see what happened to the cousin brother. He gets his neck chopped by one of the monstrosities, but then he just disappears. Do they eat him? Do they throw him out the window? And there's a throwaway line where our lead character said, like our lead male says, compared to the neighbors, we're gentlemen. Referring to the fact that they're not the only ones in the area who are feeding the monstrosities, that there are a couple of other farmers in the vicinity who are doing the exact same thing. We never get to Oh, something flashed. We never get to see them. They're never mentioned again. They're mentioned once and never again. So there's a few plot holes that I kind of would like fixed. It's not that long of a movie. I think it ran like an hour and a half. It's an isolation horror. It all takes place in the house, in the cabin, and surrounding areas. Like there's a couple scenes where they're on the property, running through the woods and beside a lake. But I don't know. I would have liked a little more backstory, but that's just me. The acting was amazing. The locations were gorgeous, but I think the writing lacked something. But that's just me. Okay, I'm gonna cut it there, and I will see you next week in next week's video. I have no idea what next week's video is. I think, let me look at my schedule. I think I have a book. Oh, I do. I gotta try and finish that. So next week, if everything goes according to plan, next week's video should be a book review. Like a Stephen King book review. All right. I will see you in the next video. Until then, creeping screams.